Hi, I'm Renée Walker, a mindset mentor, speaker, and lover of all things spiritual. I believe that at our core, we are all spiritually wired for love, peace, success, and abundance. Here on the podcast, we're diving into mindset, wellness, and business, but always through a spiritual lens. Let's just say we're going deep, but we're keeping it light. So let's elevate your life from the inside out, one conversation at a time. Welcome to Spiritually Wired. Welcome back to the Spiritually Wired podcast. Happy New Year. This episode is releasing on New Year's Day, and I am just so thrilled to be sharing this New Year's Day with you. I thought, okay, what episode are we going to release on New Year's? And I can tell you what showed up for me is what's in and what's out for 2026. So we're going to keep it nice and short for you. I have one of my favorite rituals is I do this setting goals with soul every January. It's a way to really be intentional with where we want to bring our energy to, the areas that we want to bring our energy to this year. And I do this regularly throughout the year. But one of the things that I've added to this ritual is a what's in, what's out list. Because I find that the more intentional we are about not only what are we allowing in, but also what are we not allowing in. And there's something really powerful about that because it speaks to boundaries. It speaks to honoring your energy, protecting it, and being very grounded with the way in which you are choosing to show up. Remembering that you get to choose what you allow in and what you don't allow in. Now, this year, and I'm sure if you're on social media, which by the way, I've been meeting a number of people who are not on social media, and that's been really interesting for me. They're showing me that it's possible. But most of us are on social media, and there's been a lot of talk about the year of the snake and the year of the fire horse. So 2025, from an astrology perspective, was the year of the snake. And that means that it was an intense year energetically. And the reason why I'm sharing this on the pod today is because I have felt it. Every way that it's been described in terms of a year of shedding, letting go of layers, identities that no longer align with who you are. It's been a big theme in 2025. And I know that personally, I so relate to that. 2025 numerology, from a numerology perspective, also is a year of 9, which is ending, the end of a cycle. And that also has resonated. There's really been a sense of completion, of completing. And with that meant that, maybe it was heavy for you. So that's been the 2025. And this year, 2026, is the year of the fire horse. And it feels just very different. There's a lot of energy, a lot of movement, action. And so there's more of a high frequency to it. And I am so ready. I'm ready for it. So I always say, whenever it comes to these concepts, whether it's astrology or human design or the Enneagram or all of it, sit with it, see what resonates, see what doesn't, and you get to choose what you carry with you. But that is just to give you a little bit of an overview of what energetically if you compare the 2025 to 2026, there's more momentum forward now. It's kind of the weight was being released in 2025, and now there's more lightness and more energy, right? There's more momentum that we can carry. It's a little bit easier to move forward. So let's welcome that. Okay, drum roll, please. Let's begin. What's in, what's out, 2026. We're going to start with what's out. I'm going to keep these really short so that you see what resonates. And I want to say, I so invite you to take some time after to really clarify what you want to bring in and to what you don't want to allow in. So do your own list. And actually, in the Spiritually Wired membership, we are dedicating the next 6 weeks. We're going full on into really clarifying our manifestations for the year. So come join us in the Spiritually Wired membership if you want a community to support you with that. All right, back to what's out for 2026. Number one, forcing the timelines. Now, what I mean by that, and that encompasses a number of things, but rushing, whether it's rushing to places, but also rushing your healing, rushing your goals, rushing what it is that your creative energy, so what it is that you're bringing, rushing the identity work, all of it. I find that when we are forcing things into existence, it is coming from an energy of fear. So there's always those two energies, love and fear. So forcing things, and I know from my perspective, that's when I know I'm in an energy of lack, right? Because I am never happy with where I am if I'm always looking at where I should be and then trying to force and bring things into existence when they're not ready. You can't force a flower to bloom. It happens in its own time. The work is just giving it some love, watering it, feeding it, doing all of that. That's what we can control. And so forcing timelines into existence is out. And with that means that you can actually trust that you are exactly where you need to be. You don't have to be anywhere else than where you are now. So where you are now is actually perfect. Ha! So much lighter. What's out? Abandoning yourself. And what I mean by that, again, a little group of things is people pleasing, making yourself, maybe shrinking yourself, over explaining, justifying your actions, saying yes when your body says no. So, to me, that is really about saying no to myself in order to say yes to everyone else. That means that we are abandoning ourselves, right? The saying yes when your body says no, so big. I mean, we can feel that. I don't know. And I'm sure if you think back, how many times have you said yes to something, to a commitment, to a person, and you just feel the heaviness wherever it is that you feel it in your body. I know for me, it tends to be either in my gut or in my heart area. And so really recognizing that just let your body, and it's okay to pause before you say yes, before you do anything, like just pause, check in with your body. So that's a big one. So people pleasing. And the other one I wanted to say was just, again, going back to that over explaining. And what that means is, when you say no to something and you're so proud because you're setting a boundary and you're setting no, but then all of a sudden you feel like you need to justify the reason why you're saying no. So no need to justify anymore. Be good with the answer that you have. We don't have to explain or to justify our decisions or our actions. So permission to let that go. What's out? Hustling, yes, as an identity, because really I am so done with being tired, exhausted, feeling like having to do all of the things. Hustling to me has a very busy energy, and that has been one of the big things. The clients that I coach, like one of the things we talk about is not even using the word busy. And that's something that I am working on myself, because I just found how easily, like, how are you doing? What's up? Oh, I'm busy. We just say it naturally. Every time you say it, you're just feeding into it. So What's out is just saying even that word and really being intentional with knowing that busyness is a state of mind, first of all. Busyness is not a badge of honor. We're letting that go. And so being intentional with everything that you are doing in your life, if you are busy, it's a choice too. You know, you are choosing. Either you're choosing because you're building a business, because you're raising children and you are choosing to be there for them. And that, yeah, maybe it means that your time is like there's a lot going on. Maybe it's supporting a parent and that means that you are extra busy. And that is a choice to be there for them, even though I know at times it doesn't feel like it's a choice. But for me, letting go of like the hustle identity just brings me back into I have the power and the choice, and everything that I'm bringing into my life is by choice. And so when I think of hustling and being busy, to me that means that everything else has is bigger than me. So I want to bring that back into myself and know that everything I'm saying yes to, what I'm doing, is by choice. So letting go of hustling as an identity, busyness as an identity. What's out is also overthinking instead of trusting yourself. So I don't know about you, but it's so easy, to get caught up in that loop of overthinking. And that is out, my friends. And what that means too is, how do we let go of overthinking? Is that we recognize it. We recognize when we're in that loop of thoughts and we break the pattern. As soon as you have awareness around it, and now it's what does it mean to not overthink things is to actually trust yourself. That's the opposite of it, is we're trusting ourselves. And so I know personally sometimes I have this really strong intuitive knowing, and then I start to second guess myself because now I'm like, oh, I'm overthinking things. Maybe I should do it a certain way, or I could do this or I could do that. There's a million choices in life. There's so many different avenues, so many different things we can do. Logos you can choose, brand colors in business, but just everywhere in life. There's so many different options, which is beautiful. It's amazing. But it can also lead to overthinking. So overthinking is out. Trusting myself is in. The energy of scarcity is out as well. And scarcity is kind of that lack, right? Whenever you find yourself being in that energy of lack means that we are coming from a place of fear, and that'll show up in comparing yourself. Again, bringing back social media, big place where we can start to compare ourselves to other people. And so when you have that awareness and you can find yourself in that place of lack and fear, that is out this year. We are choosing. What are we choosing instead? And that is, it's a noticing, it's a practice of I'm in a place of lack and now I'm choosing to be in a place of fullness, of abundance, of choosing to believe that I am more than enough, choosing to believe that there is more, that the universe has more than enough abundance for all of us. And it is a choice to come back to the energy of abundance. What's out is also just filling the calendar. I am so done with that. And I am really being intentional with what am I choosing to put on the calendar. And that means, because personally, I'm in a season that is, I am building. And that means that time is my most precious resource right now. And it means being intentional with it in an even bigger way. So I have been more and more, but I still sometimes find myself putting things on the calendar, and not because I don't want to. I do, like, it's always great things, but it's also depleting my energy. And so that means that protecting my time and energy is the most important resource. It's the most important thing I can do. So really being mindful of that calendar. Yeah, we're not saying yes. We're we're not saying yes to a full calendar. We're keeping space on that calendar. And I want to say what's out is just playing small. And, that's been a big thing I know personally in my life, is really being allowing myself to be seen, to say yes to things that, yeah, I mean, maybe it makes me feel uncomfortable. Maybe it makes other people feel uncomfortable. I don't know. But they're saying no to smallness and really allowing for the bigness, big energy to play out, to have fun, to be fully yourself. Wow, that is so liberating, and I'm so ready for that. All right, those are some of the things that are out for 2026. What's in? What are we calling in instead? So, really leading from who am I? That identity piece is the biggest thing. And that is what, I have specific goals that I'm working on this year. There's some big things that I'm calling in. There's some big things that are going to be showing up as a result of last year's goals that, take time, right? But who am I in order to hold what I'm calling in? So identity led energy is definitely the biggest thing this year. So, coming from a place of showing up in this version of me who's holding what it is that I'm calling in. And that is at every level, whether it's my health, right? How am I showing up for my health? That means those are the micro moments. I was just listening to James Clear from Atomic Habits, and he said, like, every act you take, like, a push up isn't going to make you strong, but it is a vote that you are making for yourself that you are a strong person. So your vote, like it's you're casting a vote towards yourself being a strong person. And I just love that. It's resonating with me so deeply. So every action, even though individually may seem like nothing, you're casting votes every day. That's your behavior. That's your identity. So that is the biggest thing, is allowing for like the choices that you're making every day to cast votes towards who you are becoming. And it's not, when I say who you're becoming, it's not because you're not enough. It's all of who you are, the truth of who you are. What's in is spaciousness as a spiritual practice. So creating room, that goes back to what we were talking about, like what's out, full calendars. Spaciousness is a spiritual practice to me. And that is a big one of what I am calling in this year. Having room to breathe, to be, to integrate, to feel, really creating space and allowing for it so it doesn't have to. Meditation is a spiritual practice. Yes. My writing, there's so many different things that I do that are part of my spiritual practice, but honoring spaciousness in my life as a spiritual practice, that's a big in for me. And that kind of ties into this next one, which is what's in is simplicity. So it's not about like doing less and not having as many things or any of that, but just intentionality, like keeping things simpler in life. Like whenever I feel like this system is too complicated, certainly applies in business. Like business is where I'm really feeling this, is I've noticed that some things they just feel complicated. And so seeing what is the thread here that keeps everything together? How can I make this even more simple? And that goes to my home life, to my health, spreading into that area too, because my brain sometimes, like there's just so much information, and that is not, it's just not, it's not working anymore. And that's been a big thing, and actually something that as we're doing this, I'm realizing I'm going to add an out, and that is the like consuming over the being. And so that kind of, I suppose, ties into the simplicity, but just simplicity to me is that we are, there's so much information right now. So if we go back to the example of health, there's so much information of everything we should be doing that my brain sometimes just wants to shut down because I don't know. I mean, there's just as many experts saying that you should fast in the morning, to you should be eating first thing, to you have to make sure you eat all the protein, to making sure that you have the fiber, to also making sure that also paying attention to your own personal experience with your health. So it's kind of shutting down all of that noise, coming back to yourself. So that comes back to like the trusting yourself and just keeping things simple. So we're simplifying things this year. It is so in. What's in is fun. This second part of 2025, I had so much fun. So much fun, and I just want more fun. I want more laughter. I want more dancing. I want more hanging out with, the people that I love. I just want to have some fun. And so that's a big one for me. And I'm just really being intentional. That word fun is going to be close to me all the time. And with that is also slowing down. And that kind of comes in with the simplicity, right? Just honoring my nervous system above all else. And, it's interesting because I have a big thing. I mean, we have our event, Manifester, February 6th, but then I also have something happening at the end of January. And I've been really reflecting on, okay, how do I support myself? I've got those are big things for me, and my physical body, my health. How do I nourish and support it so that I can show up with all of my energy and being so intentional? And I know that the core of that is supporting my nervous system. It is the most important thing we can do. I'm telling you, prioritizing your nervous system, what's in is that, prioritizing your nervous system, figuring out, being aware, mindful, noticing when you're triggered, when your nervous system is activated, and really being intentional with bringing yourself back to a more regulated nervous system. And that means we've got to slow down. We've got to slow down to honor that. Okay, what is in a big way? This has been going on for a number of years in my case, but I'm turning it on even more, and that is receiving. Receiving. And receiving without guilt, receiving without second guessing, fully receiving. And that means receiving help from other people. It means receiving compliments and being like, yes. It means receiving abundance, receiving money, receiving joy, fun, all of it, connection, love, you name it, ramping up that receiving dial in a big way. I'm telling you, whenever we are turning ourselves off from receiving, even if it's one area of our life, it is affecting every other area. So be mindful, notice all the ways in which the universe is already providing you with abundance. And the more you let yourself receive it, because you can be calling in, have all of the goodness. If you're not open to receive it, that means you're blocking it into existence. It could be there, but you're not allowing it in. So how do you receive? How do you stay open, right? The opposite, when we're blocking it, we're restricting, we're tensing. So how can you relax? How can you soften into receiving? There is so much goodness, so much abundance, so much of what you want is actually already there. All we need is to soften into it and to allow it in. So that's a big one. Being intentional with collaboration and community. So community, collaboration is in. That was on my list last year. And I've always been big on collaborating, but this year I'm bringing that up even another notch. And I've got some really fun collaborations that I'm going to be announcing soon. And I am just so in for it. I am open and really trusting myself. It doesn't mean saying yes to every opportunity, because that is where I've overdone it in the past. And then it starts to feel like the collaborations are depleting me. So I'm really intentional with what I'm collaborating on. But community collaboration, opening yourself up to new communities. What does that look like? Definitely in, because we are not meant to do this alone. And I'm going to end this with saying that what's in is belief. And am I ready to call it? I'm not sure if I'm ready to call it. I think I am ready to call it. My word for 2026 is belief. Believe. I had an experience recently where I shared something and I could feel like the belief. It was just so, I'm like, yes, this, of course, this is it. I felt it in every cell of my body. And it was such a strong, powerful feeling in my body that it made me question, do I carry that belief in every other area of my life? And so this word has been coming up a lot these past probably 5-6 months. It's been showing up more. Last year was breakthrough, was my word. And a breakthrough of a year it was. And it makes sense when you hear the year of the snake, because that's what it felt like. It was just a shedding, a letting go, a breaking through. But it wasn't a breaking down. It really was a breaking open, breaking open to allow for things to happen, to unfold. And now nurturing belief, which again, just like everything else is a practice, is in. So I'm going to ask you what your relationship is with belief. If there is something that you are wanting to invite in, how strong is your belief? Your belief in yourself as well. My husband and I have been watching Ted Lasso, and we just finished actually the last episode of the season 4, I guess is what it is, or season 3. And it made me think of he has this sign, which is believe, that he hand wrote, and then it was above the door. And so whenever now I'm thinking of believe as that. And so really honoring what that belief is. Now, yeah, and I'm just going to add that belief is a frequency. It's a vibration. It's an energy. Okay, now I also have a list of like what's in, what's out, more micro, and that's something that I'm going to be sharing probably more on social media. And it's kind of nice to have a bit more of a micro list as well. These were some bigger kind of topics, but at the end of the day, 2026 is not about proving yourself. It really is about trusting yourself. It's about honoring. It's less force, and it's more allowing for things to be, more softening, less external noises, and more connecting to yourself, your truth. And it is really about being in a space of belief. My favorite thing lately, that something that was that we started doing in the Spiritually Wired membership, was just asking like the universe to surprise and delight us. And so that is like the perfect way to end this, is to, what if we let 2026 surprise and delight us in the most beautiful ways? And that is my wish for you, that you be surprised and delighted. Thank you so much for spending this time with you. This podcast means so much to me, and I am sending you so much love. I want to remind you that you are spiritually wired for love, success, abundance, peace, joy, fun, all of what's in. And I'm sending you just one big hug. Come and join us in the Spiritually Wired membership. We are doing some big things this year, and it is a community. If you are looking for community and you are looking for the accountability to keep you in this space of belief, of trusting yourself, then this is the place to be. I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to Spiritually Wired. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow and leave a review. It really makes a big difference for the podcast. And if you're ready to dive deeper and join a soul-led community, come be a part of the Spiritually Wired membership. With weekly live lessons and a rich library of recorded classes, it's designed to support you every step of the way on your spiritual journey. We currently have a special offer where you can receive your first month for half the price. You can find a link in the show notes or come check it out at reneewalkerwellness.com. Until next time, remember to take some deep breaths. Remember that you are spiritually wired.